Well, obviously I'm a little bit of a noob. I meant for that to be one video and not break this up into two. I tried a new thing, which was to use the actual YouTube video recording instead of recording it and then editing it and then putting it in. The problem was I thought I could pause it and then continue later, and that didn't quite work out. So, I don't know. Anyway, so this will be listed as a separate video from the first one, of course. This one will be the Visconti Homo Sapiens writing sample. And again, this is a medium nib. It's the Bronze Age version. A medium palladium nib, 23 karat, on Tomoe River Goulet notebook. I'm actually not sure which gram this is. I think they have two. One of them is 68 gram or GSM. I'm not really sure which this is. I apologize. Anyway, so I'll do the standard one for now, which I don't usually do, but most people do, the Quick Brown Fox. Well, I have to say, it does feel smooth. There is a little bit of feedback. It's definitely not toothy. Maybe a tiny bit scratchy. I wonder if I need to do an alignment. No, because it feels the same both ways. It feels smoother up and down than left and right. So I'm not entirely sure what that means. So it might just be the way that it writes. It does feel good. It does feel really good. I just, I'll bring out that Pilot Custom 823 in a minute, and I'm going to do a review on that one as well soon. I just don't think it's quite as smooth as that. There's just something about it, but it's not bad at all. Some people actually would probably prefer this because some people don't like buttery smooth like I do. But this is a fairly smooth paper, so this should give a good indication the difference, since this one does still have some feedback. It's not a flex pen. It does have some line variation. I get nervous with expensive pens like this to push the nib too far, but as you can possibly tell, you can see a little bit of that flex or bend. See, no bend, bend, no bend, 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 no bend. So you can get some, it does have a good bit of bounce to it, which is similar to the Pilot Custom 823. It's one thing I love about that one as well. You do get some bounce with it. You can hear the scratchiness a little bit here. Good ink flow. I mean, this just keeps up so well. Just no problem keeping up no matter how fast I write. It's a great thing about this pen. I don't have any problems with skipping. I tend to write fast and not so cleanly. Although with fountain pens, sometimes I find myself writing a little bit more intentionally, especially if I'm writing a letter or something. But in my normal everyday writing, I tend to be sloppy. And when you write intentionally, it is actually quite smooth because you're not putting so much pressure on it. And actually, if you want it to be buttery smooth, with just a very small hair of feedback, you really don't have to put any pressure at all. And I guess that's the dream touch. You know, maybe I'm finally figuring out what that means. It's probably scratchy because I'm putting too much pressure on it. I've been using too many ballpoints at work. I confess. I apologize. Because now, yeah, there's still a little bit of pencil type feel when I write fast. But when I write intentionally and slowly, I barely do have to touch the paper. I mean, that's just barely kissing the paper on the cheek. And it writes. And it just writes really well. So maybe the trick to the dream touch is that you can kind of vary the feel based on how lightly you do it. I don't know, but it is just a great writer. Yeah, that was stupid. Anyway, I don't know. I love the feel of it. I definitely don't regret it. I would buy this again. Well, I only regret that I probably shouldn't have bought it when I bought it. For financial reasons. It was one of those, I want to have this thing. Bought it a long time ago, but I kind of wish I didn't pull the trigger so quickly. But I don't regret having this pen. I've thought about selling it, and if you're interested in buying it, you can make me an offer. I've kind of been slack at trying to sell it. I joined Fountain Pen Network thinking maybe I might eventually sell it, but right now I'm not even allowed to on there for some reason. But I really don't want to. That's the thing. This is a pen I do not have any desire whatsoever to get rid of. If I do, it'll simply be to pay off some bills and do the whole Dave Ramsey get out of debt thing, which I'm sure if he were listening, he would be saying, yes, you should sell it and buy another one later when you can afford it. But anyway, in the meantime, I'd have to say this is a great pen, one of the best pens I've ever used. It's just superb build quality. It's just, and that's actually one place where I would say the Pilot Custom 823, which I'll pull out now since I mentioned it. Before I do a full review of that, is probably smoother writer. Okay. And, but when here they are side by side. So if you line them up here, very similar length, capped. The Pilot Custom is a little bit taller. Uncapped. Both vacuum fillers, a very similar system. They're pretty much identical in length. This feels much more expensive, and it feels much more substantial. This, given its material, is much lighter in the hand. It's a beautiful pen, don't get me wrong, but the actual material does not feel as luxurious or high class as this. But can you fault them? I mean, it's like saying, okay, so it doesn't have a pretty exterior, but it performs the best. Well, is that really a knock? Not really. Try to do some side-by-side stuff here, actually. See, I can hear a little bit of feedback, but there really isn't any. Well, I don't know. There I go. Wow. I have to do another full review at some point. This isn't feeling as smooth as I remember it. I mean, I wonder if I did anything to it. I'm going to do some realignment work. I mean, it still feels great. But right now, scratchiness wise, kind of confused. I don't know. Yeah, I think the Homo sapiens is slightly more feedback. But if anything, it's more scratchy versus toothy, maybe? I don't know. Anyway, they're both great writers. You see, simple fact that I have to sit there and go back and forth and still can't tell kind of shows you what I mean. Let me flip this around for you. I don't know. They're both just amazing pens. Probably my two favorite. Although, you see, then again, there's Lamy 2000. Darn you. But that's a good thing, because those are my three favorite pens from my three favorite manufacturers. Visconti Homo Sapiens, Pilot Custom 823, and the Lamy 2000. Oh, it happens to be right here. That was not planned. I don't think it's inked, though. I've been trying to reduce the number of pens I have inked. These are really my three favorite pens. If you had to say you can only keep three, this would be my list. I do have the Pelikan M800, which I have mentioned in my last video. But it's just not... I want it to beat these. It just so far, it doesn't. Once I get a chance to write with an M1000, I might change my mind. But until then, these are my top three. And still my top three brands because of it. You know, I want to like Pelikan, and I do. I love my Pelikan, but I would sell it before I get rid of any of these. So, anyway, that'll do it for now. Sorry for the rambling. Hope you enjoyed it. Take care. Bye.